Hello everyone and welcome to task train of our SQL injection series. So in this task we're going to be learning about SQL, which stands for structured query language. So it is a feature-rich language used for querying databases. The SQL queries are better referred to as statements. The simplest of the command which we'll cover in this task is used to retrieve, update, insert, and then delete data. Although somewhat similar, some database servers have their own syntax and slight changes to how things work. All of these examples are based on MySQL database, which is an open source database management system. After learning the lessons, you'll easily be able to search for alternative syntax online for different servers. So it's also worth noting that the SQL statements are not case sensitive, so you can actually mix small letters and capital letters in your SQL queries or statements. Yeah. So the first statement we're going to talk about is the select. So the first query type we'll learn is select query, used to retrieve data from a database. So we assume we have our table here with 3 columns and then 3 rows. So this particular statement is actually going to grab everything from the table. So let's see what the statement actually means. So it's broken down here. So the first word, select, tell the database we want to retrieve some data. The star tell the database we want to receive back all columns from the table. So we have 3 columns. So for example, the table may contain 3 columns: ID, username, and password. So you have ID, username, and password here. And then the from users tell the database. So this part, from users, tell the database we want to retrieve the data from the table named users. So the name of the table here is users. And then finally, a semicolon at the end tell the database that we are ending our query. So that's the end of this SQL statement. So a semicolon will end the statement or terminate the statement. All right. The next query is similar to the above. So I think this is the next query. But this time, instead of using the star to grab all the columns or return all the columns, we are just requesting the username and the password. So you say select username and then password. So whatever you put here, separated by a comma, is going to actually return those columns from the table, from the users table. So that's what basically it means. The following query, so I think it's referring to this next query. The following query, like the first, return the columns by using the star selector. So the star selector, it returns everything, and then the limit one. So the limit one clause. So this particular clause here forces the database to return only 1 row of data. So if maybe from the star we have 3 rows, but if you bring the limit clause, it's going to return just 1 row. Which is mostly the first row if you don't do any further specification. And then changing the query to limit 1, 1 forces the query to skip the first result, and then limit 2, 1 skips the first 2 results, and so on. You need to remember the first number. So the first number after the limit tell the database how many results you want to skip, and then the second number tell the database how many rows you want to return. Yeah, so if you say limit 2, you want to skip the first 2 rows, and then the 1 means you want to return one row of data from the database, not from the table here. All right, so that is it. So from this particular statement, this is what is returned from the database. All right, and then lastly we are going to utilize the where clause. This is how we can finally pick out the exact data we require by returning data that matches our specific clauses. So from here we say select everything. So select all columns from users table where username is admin. So if you go back to the table here, so this is the original table. We are selecting every column, but we want the particular row where the username is admin. So it means we are going to return just only this particular row. So with ID2, a username admin. So that's what we return here from our query. Yeah, this will only return the rows where the username is equal to admin. So yeah, just as I explained. And then the next one is select everything from users where username is not equal to admin. So you want to return everything apart from a column that contains a username with admin. So you have this particular result back. So they are saying that this will only return rows where the username is not equal to admin. So you can see that in this particular result, the rows that have been returned, we don't have username admin in the username column. All right. So the next one is select everything from users where username is admin or username is John. All right. So this will only return the rows where username is either equal to admin or John. Yeah, so I think this is kind of a bit self-explanatory, using a boolean or to make this return. Yeah. So the next one is select everything from users where username is admin and password is equal to P4SS word. Yeah. So in that case, this will only return the rows where the username is equal to admin and then the password is equal to password. So we can see that it's only this particular row that matches that particular description. And then using the like clause allow you to specify data that isn't an exact match, but instead either starts, contains, or ends with certain characters by choosing where to place the wildcard character represented by the percentage sign. So the wildcard character, the percentage sign, you want to use it to if you don't want an exact match, you want something that looks like or that contains. So if you're familiar with regular expressions or regex, this should be easy to understand. Yeah. So where you place the wildcard, so the percentage sign is the wildcard. Where you place it is very important, and then that will determine the results that will be returned. So in our case, from this particular statement, we're selecting everything from the users table where username like. So it means it contains a username that has a that begins with a and then anything else. So if you go back to our original table, so we only have admin. We have admin that starts with a, so it's going to return this row. So that's basically what it means. So you see that it's returning the admin. It's returning the row with an ID of 2 that has the username admin and then the password. So this returns any rows with username beginning with the letter A. So as simple as that. And then the next command or the next statement is similar to the previous one, but this time around, instead of starting with A, the wildcard is start with anything, but it ends with N. So that's what it means. So this returns any rows with username ending with the letter N. All right, but we can use it in several different ways. We can have different wildcards in our like statement. So in this case, we have wildcard starting and then wildcard ending, and then we have mi in between. So in this case, this will return any rows with username containing the character mi within them. So it can start with anything and it can end with anything, but there has to be mi in between. All right. So that's basically all about the select statement, which is used to retrieve data from the database or tables. All right. And then now our next statement is the union statement. This is kind of an interesting one. We need this is going to build us upon the practical labs we're gonna try. So you need this information to be able to exploit the vulnerability. So it's really important to grasp this understanding. All right. So the union statement combines the result of 2 or more select statements to retrieve data from either single or multiple tables. The rules to this query are that the union statement must retrieve the same number of columns in each select statement. The columns have to be of a similar data type, and the column order has to be the same. All right, so this is very important. This might sound not very intuitive now, but I think with the practical examples you get to understand them. So let's say a company wants to create a list of addresses for all customers and suppliers to post a new catalog. We have one table called customers with the following content. So this table is for this is the customers table, and then this is another table that is the suppliers table. So we can use the union statement to combine the information of these two tables. So using the following SQL statement, we can gather the results from the two tables and put them into one result set. All right, so that's going to create a new table that has both information from the two different tables. So you can see that we are selecting name, address, city, postcode from the customers table, and then we are adding it, or we are combining it with the union select statement to company address, city, and postcode from the suppliers table. So this is going to be the resulting information or resulting table, which is going to be stored for us. All right, so that's about the union statement. And now the next statement, we have the insert. So the insert statement tells the database we wish to insert a new row of data into the table. And then the into users, so insert into users. The into users tell the database which table we wish to insert the data into. So into users, so this is like the users table. And then we have username and password. So these are the columns that we want to insert this data, and then the values that we want to insert at this particular places. So the values are Bob. So Bob will be inserted at the username column, and then the password will be inserted at the password 123 will be inserted at the password column. So, and then this is going to be the resulting table. So our new information will be inserted here. So we have Bob, and then password 1234, and then you can see that we have an ID which is auto incremented. So we don't have to actually worry ourselves about the ID. It's set to be auto increment because it's the primary key. All right, so we have the next statement, which is the update statement. So the update statement tells the database we wish to update one or more rows of data within a table. You specify the table you wish to update using the updates and then the table name you want to update, and then set, and then the select, and then select the field or fields you wish to update as a comma separated list. So you have username is equal to root, and then password is equal to the pass123, and they're separated by a comma. Then finally, similar to the select statement, you can specify exactly which rules to update using the where clause. So you can, instead of updating everything, you can actually update just some rules that you want to specify. All right, so the update users, so this is the users table, and then we want to set the username to root, and then the password to pass123, where username is equal to admin. So when you go back to the original table where the username is equal to admin, we want to change it to root. So it will change it to root. So you see that we now have root here, and then instead of this password, we are now going to have this new password, which is pass123. So we'll be able to update that table, right? And then the next one, the next statement is the delete statement. So the delete statement tells the database we wish to delete one or more rows of data. Apart from missing the columns you wish to return, the format of this query is similar to the select. So it's like it looks like the select statement, just that it's missing some information. You can specify precisely which data to delete using the where clause, and the number of rows to delete using the limit, which is very important, because sometimes if you delete without specifying, you may delete everything from the table, which may not be the intended thing you want to do. So this is a statement. Let's have a look at it. So delete from users where username is equal to Martin. All right, so you want to delete from users. So the name of the table is users, and then when you come to the table, you look for a column username, and then in the username you look for Martin. So you have something called Martin in the username. Yeah, so if you have a match, you want to delete it. So you can have several usernames with Martin. So let's say you have 5. So all those 5 rows that are returned with username Matt now are going to be deleted. And if you use the limits, so you can say limit 1, so it's going to just delete the first one that is coming back, and if you don't specify the limit, to delete all that matches the username Matt. And then also here we say delete from users. So if you say delete from users, you don't have the where clause specified, it deletes everything from the table. So because no where clause was being used in this query, all data will be deleted from the table. So the resulting table is you're gonna have an empty table. All right. So basically that's it about SQL statements. So we need this particular knowledge in our practical, lab. So yeah, let's try to answer this question that follows. What SQL statement is used to retrieve data? So I think this is going to be the select statements. Okay. What SQL clause can be used to retrieve data from multiple tables? So if you have multiple tables, I think we will need a union to combine multiple tables into a single table, data from multiple tables into a single table. Yeah. And then what SQL statement is used to add data? So you have a table and then you want to add data to it. I think we can use the insert. I'm sure it's the insert statement. Yeah, so that's right, and that should be the end of task 3. So next video we'll be tackling task 4. Thank you.